Good afternoon, everybody. Sean Hewitt here from the Trusted Business Community Association, and today I am joined by Alex Barton of Create2Convert. Alex and I got to know each other not too long ago when we met up, and we ended up in a one-to-one together, and he told me about his journey, his story behind everything that how Create2Convert became his brand. I'm not going to tell you all about that because I'm going to let Alex tell you all about that, because there's no point in me telling you about it when I've got the main man himself. You can hear it from the horse's mouth. Alex, we are very proud to have you here, and you recently joined us as an accredited member of the association, which we are equally proud to have you as part of the inner circle of the Trusted Business Community Association. And it's a pleasure to have you here today being interviewed for our YouTube channel. Of course, this isn't just for YouTube. It will be shared, as many people will be seeing this on different social medias as well. But let me say welcome, Alex, to our meeting to this afternoon.
Thanks, Sean. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's great to have an opportunity to tell you a little bit more, tell everyone about what's been going on in my world and where I've come from and what I'm doing, and and how I can help people, because that's
brilliant. Well, listen, let's start with the first question for you. The journey. I like to start with the journey because I think the journey is a real important part of getting to know the person instead of the brand. So let's talk about the journey, Alex. Can you tell us a little bit about you, who you are, and how Create2Convert came about?
Yeah, well, when I was 5, no, seriously, I'm not going to go that far back, but I'll go quite far back. But I suppose I went down, got my brick, late 1990s. Got a degree in graphic design, visual communication, and I launched myself into the creative world, and progressed, and went from being a graphic designer for a publishing house through to being a creative director for a national awards and events company, and which was great. It was like a real acceleration process, going through all that kind of things, but something wasn't quite doing it for me, I suppose. The reality was, when I came to I think it was coming up to sort of 2005, this was so I wasn't getting the buzz that I was getting at the start of it all, and all the excitement and what have you going on, and I just maybe, I don't know, maybe I'd hit a glass ceiling, I don't know, from that aspect. Maybe I'd learnt as much as I could have done in that environment of what I was doing. So I kind of made, after chatting with my wife and what have you extensively, I kind of made the sort of brave step, I suppose some would say, but to set up my own business and hand my notice in at the company, my well-paid job up in London. I thought, right, no, but I was keen to sort of get back the buzz about what I was doing, because you don't, what is it, what's the saying, is it live to work to live? It was that whole sort of mix up that was going through. So so I did that, and that was coming up to, well, it was in December 2005. I launched my own business, which is called Alexander Rose Creative. My wife was also involved in the business as well. We were going all out, doing graphic design and print and everything from that, because of course in those days the digital world wasn't upon us as yet. It's I just used all the skills, all my knowledge I learned, and went out there and we're networking and doing everything like we do today, but meeting local businesses, working with them, going on. But I had a bit of bad news, I would say. It's a small scale thing, but literally 2 weeks after I'd set my business up in January 2006, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, which kind of is a curveball, I think would have been an understatement, really, because I was all of a sudden thinking, what the hell, you know, what am I going to be in a wheelchair? Am I, you know, how am I going to pay to live and put food on the table? You know, I've been brought up in quite a traditional sort of thinking family, you know, where I want to be I want to be a breadwinner as well. You know, obviously my wife would be, but I want to be doing that side. But the weird thing was that actually me having my own business enabled me to build it around me. You know, it had that flexibility. So I was able to do all the things I was loving, and believe me, it was so rewarding to set up my business, have these new challenges, all the functions that you do with the business, and to go out there and service clients nearby, and to see actually what I'm doing with that client. Whereas the roles before were I was a cog in a wheel, you know, whereas now I am the cog, you know.
Yeah.
The business is the cog. It's still doing that side of it.
It's a big transition, isn't it, mate? When you go from being part of a big team to suddenly being the team, you know.
Yeah, and there was something totally unique about it. I mean, and it really gave me, you know, I was being massively tested. I mean, so much so that, you know, about 3 months afterwards, so middle of 2006, I won my largest clients day. I blew them away with a creative pitch at Chicago Rock Cafe. I created all the graphics, the point of sale, everything for in their stores, for the food marketing, for all their promotions UK wide. And each store had to have individual tailored things. And, you know, I did this all myself, you know, from that side. But it was such a big buzz. And that really gave me a massive incentive to keep on driving it, you know, driving it forward, really. So, that was where I went. But I've worked with automotive industry. It's been, you know, education, fit out contractors, you name it. There isn't many industries that I haven't worked in. And that was another massive thing that I enjoyed, because before I was doing a job, a role, fulfilling that, blowing the socks off it. But the reality is now I was working with all these different businesses, learning exactly how those businesses operate, and then how I can actually solve solutions for them doing that. And then, of course, you know, along comes the age of the internet. Initially, at first, it was, you know, couldn't do absolutely anything creative with it. So I didn't touch it, because it was like, basically, you know, you couldn't do anything that would really sort of bring brands and what have you to life and make it happen. But basically in 2007, I launched the whole web design development element to my business, and just basically adapted that. I think in 2008 there was quite a big recession sort of thing, so the digital age kind of accelerated, you know, it kind of all accelerated a lot more quicker, because it was a much more cost-effective way to get your business seen and get your business out there. But you had to do it properly and professionally. And you know, you didn't want to be one, unless of course that was the nature of your business. But if you wanted to be cheap as chips, and it was that, then it was all about understanding that. And that's the element, I suppose, I take a lot of pride in doing, is actually understanding and interpreting a client's brief and helping them to establish and create that brief. Because, you know, if you say to someone, right, create a brief for me, and they, you know, half the time they don't know what that is. So it's for me to actually go in there and actually say, okay, what are your goals, what are your objectives, and what have you, and then help them to create a brief which makes me accountable, and then I can actually deliver on that, and then, you know, get their returns on investment, and make sure that's in there. That's always the thing I struggled with, was, you know, how can you, when you're working with businesses, you know, they say they want returns on investment, and how can you validate that? How can you bring that forward? And I suppose it wasn't until jumping forward to 2013 when I set up inbound marketing and automation, a marketing automation company, that I could actually gauge and measure what results were, returns on investment, all the KPIs. I could deliver all of that because all the technology and what have you behind it enabled me to actually say, right, I was doing this, can do this, you know, and it can, rather than it just being whimsical. And yeah, I sort of didn't move away, but moved my focus away from the branding as such, but use those skills in actually doing that area of the business. But then as I did that, I actually had a massive relapse. So I've been living with MS for many years. No one knew about it. No one, I didn't let anyone know about it, I suppose. I kind of just got on with it. And but I had a massive relapse in 2013, just as I'd set up my inbound marketing business. And that left me disabled. I lost control of my legs. It was a very scary thing. I woke up in the middle of the night, tried to go to the toilet, and straight over on the floor. And, you know, it kind of instantaneously, it just took a hold. And I mean, that's the nature of MS, you know, so many relapses.
Life-changing, mate. Absolutely life-changing. You know, what we would take as for granted, you know, getting up in the middle of the night, you know, especially at my age, and needing to go to the toilet. But, you know, you just take that for granted, that you can get up, walk to the toilet, use the toilet, walk back to bed, go back to sleep, you know. And something like that must have been a massive impact to your, not just your physical being, but mentally, to have the mental strength as well to be able to cope with that and get through that, as you obviously have. But, and I'm sure you'll go into a little bit more detail about that in a minute, but that mental strength, I think, is testament to the type of person you are, because not everybody could handle that. There's a lot of people out there. I know I would struggle with that. I personally would. I'd be like, whoa. But to be able to suddenly, you know, have that hit you must have been a massive like impact to you, your family, the business, and everything else.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's strange because I never think of it. I kind of do what I feel I needed to do. It kind of, like I said, like I never admitted defeat and what have you. And it took me a couple of years to actually even get my head around the whole thing, because I was constantly wanting to find a cure, and there isn't a cure for MS. You know, there wasn't a cure for MS. And then all of a sudden the penny drops, and I thought, oh, I've got to manage this. And it was strange because I kind of threw myself into my business because I had control over my business, but I didn't have control necessarily over what was going to happen with me personally. I still had all my faculties and what have you. I was more than capable, just my mobility really, which was the main hindrance for me. And I suppose as well, one of the reasons that I went into the inbound marketing and automation, I think about it when I look back, went into the automation, was that, you know, I was dealing with clients all over the UK, and I was using Zoom to basically do that. I'd go and meet them for the first time, but I was always transparent with people. They knew exactly where I was, you know, what, you know, that aspect of it, my abilities. But everything was done on the computer, sitting here in the chair and what have you. You know, I didn't need to get up and move about and do all that kind of stuff and everything. So it kind of, it was kind of weird how I'd kind of, something subconsciously, I'd kind of brought that in, and I wanted to make sense of it, and it all sort of connected, and it all tied together. Yeah, so it was kind of a little bit sort of totally life-changing in that sense, but it was kind of it was something that, I don't know, I didn't let that. I was massively conscious about whether it was obvious. I mean, you know, even if I managed to go down to the pub with some friends and what have you, I'd have to get a chair if I was in the pub. You know, they'd have to make sure that I had a chair, because I couldn't get to a pub and then not down. But and as I left the pub, and I wasn't that drunk, but God blimey, my MS, you know, would be, you know, would inflame that, and it would look even worse and what have you. So, you know, you have to be kind of conscious of what you're happening, what you're doing. But anyway, that's by the by there, I suppose. Yeah, it was weird. A lot of things which were which I took for granted were being stripped away from me, you know, and not being able to take my son to football, and not being able to stand on the sidelines, do all these things. That wasn't possible, you know. I couldn't do those things, you know. And I felt like a pretty shit dad, to be fair, excuse my French, but you know, that's how I you know, it was kind of a real juxtapose. So I threw myself into the business because that kind of offset, I suppose.
I suppose it was like a big release for you to be able to control that part of your life, because that was something you could control.
Yes, yeah, totally. And you know, I knew totally what I was doing. I knew exactly how I can help businesses. I can actually improve their website presence. I can consistency from using their brand identity right the way through social media, digital platforms, right, everything, making sure that it all sung at the same volume, and that business was positioned in the marketplace appropriately, you know, because that was one of the key things, was making sure that, you know, a business, you know, you don't want to sort of set it up or create a brand that sort of reeks of, you know, high end and luxury, when at the end of the day they go on pack their products in rabbit fodder and ship them out in tissue paper, and you know, basically they're looking to go for the lower cost, I suppose. So it was, yeah, loads of different things on that.
So you having gone through that, managed it, obviously maintained that management of the MS. That brings you up to a little bit nearer today. You've obviously done all of those things in the past, but I suppose Create2Convert has all of those expertise that you've built up over time, and I'm sure you're probably about to tell the world listening into this that the things that you learned in those early days leading up to Create2Convert have now been implemented as part and parcel of the services that you provide now. Yeah. So what's the tell us a little bit more about Create2Convert, so that those listening into this interview can get a bit of a handle on what the up-to-date version of Alex Barton is when it comes to giving this excellent level of service standards that you give.
Thank you. Well, yeah, I mean, the reality was that you know, I discovered a treatment called HSCT that was happening over in Moscow and Mexico, in the main sort of centres. UK had been doing it for a little while, but they weren't anywhere near as knowledgeable or experienced and what have you as these guys. And because I'd done research the arse out of it, we fundraised for all the treatment, our whole process to it, and I decided that I was going to go for this treatment, which was a groundbreaking treatment, to be fair, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But you know, I sold my inbound marketing business because I wanted to just down shovel everything and get it down to a simple thing, because I needed to focus on my health for a period of time. And yeah, I went for this treatment, went to Moscow, had 4 days of chemotherapy, a stem cell treatment, where they harvest your nubile stem cells from when you're like 3 years old, and then they put that back into your system after the chemotherapy, and you recreate an immune system which is free of the memory of MS. and that's the whole idea of the treatment. And yeah, so I went 30 days, did that. I don't know, I'm playing it down maybe a little bit, but I'm conscious that I don't really want to kind of go too heavy into it. But at the same time, on the day that I got out of the hospital, I managed to, basically before I went, I needed sticks to walk three meters if I was lucky. It was getting bad. It was looking awful. And on the day I got out of hospital, after having the treatment, I cast the sticks to one side and I walked 500 meters unaided in the grounds of the hospital. And it was just incredible. I could feel my toes. I could do all these aspects of it. But what it did, I mean, I've got a kind of a new start. I've got a future back, I suppose, from the treatment. And it made me think about what is it that I actually want to do going forwards. I've got a massive hunger for business. I was so motivated and driven because I've given that time for myself and I created Create2Convert, to deliver what I absolutely love doing and working on, and that is branding and the digital communication. So I stripped out the inbound marketing, but I've got all this knowledge and experience of delivering all these things that I bring all that knowledge and it helps to harness through on that service. So now I very much create impactful websites, create content which is designed to attract, engage, and nurture customers. And I've just got. I don't know how it's I'm doing what I absolutely love doing because I'm also bloody good at it, and I've got a new start to life. And I can't tell you, my immune system is younger than my kids. It's kind of like I've got a new system in me which drives me so much more into the passion I do. And what I do for my clients now, is just use all that knowledge, and combine it to deliver things on time. I've got all my experience with project management, with dealing with the real detail right through to every aspect. I don't know. I'm kind of whittling a little bit here because I'm kind of I mean, the thing is, I reevaluated, all my personal goals and my business goals, and rather than it just being me looking after my health and then the business, working on the business side of things, now I don't have to wake up every day thinking what shit's going to happen to me today. I don't have that anymore. I don't have that worry. I've been relapse free. I've got no activity. I've had MRIs. I've tested for the last 5 years. I don't have that blocking up my brain. Yeah. Even though I successfully managed my business, did all that, I've got a whole area of my brain now clear.
Yeah.
That I can focus on, and now I use that through on business. It's just it's just.
I suppose again another life-changing moment for you, but on a positive, because it's obviously given you that new lease of life, that new opportunity, the opportunity to go out there and deliver without any impairment the things that you love to do, which is obviously give people that voice in the digital space and that vision in the digital space that everyone needs to make sure that message is loud and clear and positive and resonates from start to finish of what that particular organization you're working with is offering. So this is what you get at the beginning, this is what you get as an outcome, and you're creating that mastering of that message from the start to end of the the process that they're helping somebody else with. And it's through you that, and through your understanding of their marketplace and understanding of the efforts and work that you put in to get the right communications in the early stages of understanding their business. It's now taking it through to a seamless transition so that their end user understands what they're going to get from start to finish as well.
Very much it's about asking the right questions.
Yeah.
Because I mean, even back in the days when I designed brochures, I can't count how many times, you know, a business turn around to me and, you know, in a good sense, and just say, you know, I need a brochure. Can you help me? Yeah. And the first question I would say is, well, why? You know, why do you need a brochure? You know, what are you going to do with that brochure? What are you thinking? Because I was just so used to seeing, you know, underneath people's desks, they would have hordes of brochures and that they weren't doing anything with. And that's where I feel that a lot of the value that I can bring to the mix is that I can actually help, you know, them understand or help them to make use of those brochures. You know, what are you going to do with it? And like with the website, how are you going to get it? How are you getting it out there? You know, are you doing the SEO? Are you doing all these activities and whatever is going out there? And likewise with fantastic networking groups like yourself, how are you promoting and putting yourself out to those and taking it from? And it's more just about getting people thinking about that aspect, you know, all those things that are entailed.
Putting all the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together to make sure that the picture is loud and clear, basically, isn't it? And you can't just do one thing. You've got to have it all working together to create the opportunity. Alex, what a story, man! You know, what a journey. Fantastic that you've been able to share so many personal aspects of that journey as well. Now, I'm sure the people listening in are going to want to find out more about you after that, because, you know, that's just, you've blown me away today with the journey, you know, not just in the work, but then working within the journey of your own health aspects as well, and still coming back fighting, still coming back for more. And that tells, as I said earlier in this interview, wow, that shows the character of the man behind the brand. And I'm sure that if anybody has listened into this and they're listening to this and thinking, who do I need to be on my team to get my message right? There is one very strong reason in the fact that this never say die attitude, plus all of the experience that you've explained over today. And this morning's meeting, and this afternoon's this afternoon's interview has given us a big insight to why people should be using you. Not just because you're accredited through us as an accredited member of the association, and your service standards is guaranteed with that rubber stamping of that badge of trust that you've got. But there's even, you know, if that's not big enough, the journey that you've been on and the drive that you've shown, I hope has resonated with those people listening in to understand that, hey, this guy we need to have a chat with, because we need this guy on the board in our team. So with that in mind, Alex, could you tell us where you hang out, your socials, where you are, where you can be found? Where can we find Alex Barton of Create2Convert?
Yeah, well, thanks, Sean. The reality, my website is Create2Convert, that's with a number 2, as you might be able to see there, create2convert.co.uk. Of course, you know, I've got a LinkedIn profile, so search for me, Alex Barton. But Create2Convert is also on LinkedIn as well. But I'd love to have the opportunity to have one-to-one with anyone and just find out if there's anything that I can do to help that business move forward, because that's the main goal of what I'm doing. And understandably, your the accreditation, the TTBCA, BCA. I'm featured on there as well. So search on the members pages for information from there as well.
Yeah, 100%. And of course, you've got your email in the corner of your screen, which is great that you've done that. I've got mine here too. See,
yeah, I nicked that idea off someone I know.
Yeah, funny that. But it's a good thing. So if you are watching this, and obviously you can reach Alex directly through his email as well, which is there on the screen in the bottom corner. And yes, of course, as Alex quite rightly says, you can find him on the Trusted Business Community Association's website in our online directory, where if you just type in Create2Convert, up he'll come, and you've got all of his socials there, a bit of a bio about him, his email, his telephone number. Easy to make contact with through there as well. It's been a privilege and a pleasure to do this interview with you today, Alex. It really has, mate. It's great as well, and it is a privilege and a pleasure to also have you as part of that inner circle of the Trusted Business Community Association as an accredited member. You're already making inroads to those that you're meeting through our membership, and obviously beyond that as well. People are talking about Alex Barton. I was talking to a member recently, yesterday, and he sort of said, "Have you spoke to him about his journey?" And I went, "Well, I've heard a little bit." I said, "But I'm interviewing him. I'm sure the journey will come up." He went, "Wow, that guy's amazing," and that's just come from people that you've just got started to meet. So lots of good positive feedback coming your way, mate, from those people that you are meeting up with within the association. People I'm sure will want to now, having heard your story and heard the journey and heard the drive and enthusiasm that you bring to others through through what you do for business, is going to make more people want to reach into you from this interview. This interview is going up on our YouTube channels. Don't forget to like and subscribe below to obviously listen to this one, as well as many others that are already up there, and many, many, many more to come. We will be interviewing Alex again in the near future for another section of the Create2Convert journey, and I'm certainly looking forward to that. But do obviously do like and subscribe so that you can keep up to date with everything that we're doing. More importantly, this is also going out on social media. We will be sharing it from our YouTube channel to the social medias. So look out for it on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter. It's even going on Pinterest and Instagram. You will find us, this interview, Alex and I having a chat as we have done today, and it will be there on social media in the next few days, coming days ahead. With that, I'm going to bid you farewell. Thank my accredited member, Alex Barton from Create2Convert, for once again joining me in this interview. It's been an absolute privilege and a pleasure, mate. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Sean. Thank you.